right. Welcome to This Week Inside the New York Knicks, episode 9. We're back. I had to take some time off, man. It was the holidays, family. It was an unexpected, vacation, if you want to call it that. But I had to take some time, recharge, retool, organize things. The podcast is back, and we'll be rocking all the way till the off season or until I need another break again. But I will be very consistent with this podcast. Salute to all the people that follow the podcast, man, that love the podcast, that support the podcast and get some air horns in here. You know what I mean? I'm a little rusty, but we're getting it back. Um, Definitely, I have a full schedule. I will be uploading content consistently on this channel. I will be dropping a lot of content going forward. Salute to Knicks Deli. I've been watching his stuff. Go check his channel out, man. He's a great supporter, friend of the channel, man. But definitely we'll be rocking consistently. I will be doing another live video again, this Thursday, Level-Headed Knicks Talk. We'll probably do the first half of the season because I missed 2 weeks of this podcast. I might cover a little bit of some of the stuff that we missed there. So check that out this Thursday at I believe 11 o'clock. We'll go live, or 12 o'clock, sorry. And so, welcome to the podcast, man. Definitely, I'm your host, the Objective Fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest, and you know the vibes, man. So, also another thing too, another announcement I want to make. We got a live play-by-play. We're gonna be covering all of these games. Salute to us. The first game we're gonna do, and these, by the way, when we do these live play-by-plays, they're national TV games. So we're gonna start with the Nets on the 23rd of January, and then we got Miami on the 27th. Then the Lakers on the 3rd. We'll put out a flyer with all the dates and all of those things so you can check it out. But if you're new to the podcast, first off, so definitely subscribe to the channel, like, subscribe, wherever platform you're on. This video will be out on multiple platforms and Facebook. I will be posting on Facebook consistently as well. Definitely, take the time and support that way by following us, making sure that you stay connected and abreast of all of the things that's going on. But this show is about documenting the Knicks 365, 7 days a week. If you give me 50 minutes, I give you the Knicks. So we divide up the year into weeks. I give you the Knicks each week. So if you miss a lot or there's things that you may not have known, we cover a lot of topics. And eventually there'll be a website. I'm still struggling with that. I didn't have no time to really work on the website while I was gone, but and then all the notes will be there. I have the website up below, as you can see, right below, theobjectiveknicksfan.com. So definitely feel free to check that out. And so let's jump into research mode because we actually like to put our information on the screen. So we'll start off with the Wizards game. First off, salute to these red hot Knicks. Red hot Knicks. This week has been an amazing week for the Knicks. Post trade, even though the trade technically would have happened last week on the last episode, if we would have done one, I'll talk a little bit about that. Some of the topics, as you can see to the right of the screen, is still there. We're gonna talk about the Wizards game. We'll talk about a couple of days from last week's game. We might even do a Blazers game preview if we have time. We're going to talk about, of course, our flagship topic is Jalen Brunson. Is his minutes too high? We'll talk about Stephen A. Smith and his shade. I don't understand Stephen A. Smith and his unnecessary, criticisms of the Knicks. I mean, aren't you a Knicks fan? I don't know. And then we're going to, of course, get into the power rankings and more. Like I said, I try to cram a lot into the 50 minutes, and we'll talk about it, and we'll move forward there. But definitely this Wizards game, I mean, it capped off a great week of basketball. The Knicks went 4-0 this week. I'm pretty sure, because we're going to be talking about the power rankings. We typically use ESPN's rankings, which comes out in the middle of the week. So next week's rankings should be a lot higher based off this recent success the Knicks have. I mean, knocking off Minnesota and Philadelphia in the same week, going 4-0. Clearly, the Knicks are probably the hottest team in the NBA right now, just based off the quality of wins and how we've pretty much blown out the Philadelphia second 76ers and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves convincingly. So salute to that, man. Couple of things I want to talk about in this Wizards game. Definitely was a it was a watch. I didn't even write a game preview for it because I knew that the Knicks were going to blow out the Wizards. The Wizards are simply just not on the Knicks level, and we knew that, going into the game. So it was just for me, it was a matter of seeing, Deuce and Grimes, seeing if they can continue their winning ways, right? So I got the box scores here. Salute to the Knicks once again, getting the job done. I love the crowd, I got a little shout for. I'm gonna add more songs too, but Randall, I knew he was gonna kill. This is why I knew the Knicks were gonna blow out Washington last night because I knew Randall was just going to be pretty much unstoppable, and there's nothing that these guys are going to be able to do with him. They don't have the personnel to match up with him. Adnia and Kuzma are not capable defenders, or definitely not guys that can take on the challenge of a Julius Randle. So his 39 points to me wasn't shocking. Honestly, what was more shocking to me was the fact that he actually didn't even get 10 rebounds. That's the only blemish on Randall's jacket, if you want to add to it or notice something or critique it. But he had 7 rebounds. OG, 4 of 7. Yeah, see, this is what people need to understand about OG. OG is somebody who does not need to score the ball to have an impact on the game. And we'll get into his plus minus and things like that. His plus minus in this game was a plus 11, right? So OG's having an impact on winning. And once again, I'm not the biggest advanced stat guy. I do use advanced stats, and I do think advanced stats do tell you certain things. Certain metrics are more important than others, in my opinion. But at the same time, I think that OG is someone who does not need the ball nor need to score to have an impact on the game. And that to me is the most beautiful thing about his upside, his value, um, what he brings to the table. I think that is definitely something that will help the Knicks going forward. So I really love what OG's doing in his short minutes of time. Isaiah Hartenstein is a man. He had 19 rebounds, one shy of his career high. I believe his career high was 20 rebounds, and that he set in the previous game. We'll get to that. But Isaiah Hartenstein dominated again. Once again, I knew that Gafford is a solid big. He had 12 rebounds himself, but he wasn't going to be able to do nothing with Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein is definitely playing for a contract. Salute to Isaiah Hartenstein. He's doing his thing. Definitely holding it down. And Brunson is a solid 33. That's an easy night, walking apart for Brunson. Trae Young is not a bad defender. Jordan Poole is also a capable defender, but I knew that they wouldn't be able to do nothing with Jalen Brunson. Of course, Dante did his thing. He's just someone who does. Once again, he didn't have the greatest shooting night, but his defense, his rebounding, his assists, he's all over the court. See, and I'm gonna get to this. I got another video coming right after the podcast. We talking about OG Anunoby. Um, the Knicks, and I'm gonna really get into my bag in a second. And I don't have that audio cued, but I'm gonna get into my bag in a second when we talk about this Philly game. The Knicks have players that don't need to score to be impactful. That is a danger. That's why we do the live play-by-plays, because national TV, they don't watch us enough to understand that we have guys that don't score 20, but have impact the same level of impact as a player that scored 20. So that's where the Knicks value is. Let me see if anything. Josh Hart. Josh Hart had a crazy plus minus. Let me see. Do I got that image here? So Josh Hart in the last 2 games, plus 70, plus minus. The last game against Philly, I could pull that box score up real quick so we could look at it. He had the highest plus minus this season for a player off the bench, plus 46. And in Knicks history, I think that this is the biggest number in Knicks history as well for plus minus, but we'll get to that. So Josh Hart plus 70 plus minus off the bench. Once again, he's another one of these guys that you know, don't need the ball to be effective. So since we're there, let's go back to the Philly game. Let's get back to. But you know what? Let's do something. Let's take a quick broad pause, and we'll get back to the content, man. And I just want to let's look at the store, the shop. Definitely, this is one of one of the sweaters from the shop, you know, that I got on right now. I bleed orange and blue. Salute to. We're gonna be dropping more designs outside of just I bleed orange and blue, but my favorite is this. Um, this hoodie right here, the beige, I bleed orange and blue. Definitely, if you want to support the channel, hit the shop. The link is actually to the left of me. Shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. I just want to take a little brief pause before we get back into the sauce and continue doing what we're doing. So, big up to you guys, man. Support the channel. Shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. So let's get back into this Philly game, man. Knicks embarrassed Philadelphia on their own home floor. First off, big up to the Knicks, man. And one of the things I forgot to mention with this Wizards game was the fact that the crowd was cheering for us. And there was even some MVP chants for Julius Randle. I love when we travel down the East Coast because those are really home games. Because Knicks fans run the world, man. We're everywhere, right? We're everywhere, man. Holding it down, man. Holding it down. While we there.
Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel.
Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. So this game, in my opinion, was probably the best one of the season. Not because we blew out the Sixers. I think that if we would have won by one, it still would have been the best game of the season. Let me explain why. I want to real quickly. Let's see if I can pull up the full standings, even though I had it right there. So when we look at the full standings, right, you're gonna notice that the Sixers they've been the third best team in the East for a while. I know the Magic were there. I think the Magic actually was like as high as 2 at one point. Boston always was 1. Milwaukee was kind of finding their way, and then they found their way, and then they kind of settled in the top 3, and then Philly found themselves right behind them, right? But it's funny, and let me see if I could zoom in a little bit. It's funny, right, that the Knicks, we're in 4th place right now. We went from 8th to 4th overnight. It's still, what does this tell you? It's still early in the season, man. But let me tell you this, and I'm going to talk more about this week. Make sure you check out Level Headed Knicks Talk about, I'm going to just give you one of the, not secrets, but one of the things I was going to talk about. You see this differential right here? It's the 4th highest in the East. Big up to the Knicks for having the 4th highest differential. This differential number shows, it separates the good teams from the bad teams. So when we look at Indiana's differential, that 2.6, don't smoke and mirrors because they score a lot. They're the number 1 scoring team in the league at 126 points per game. They're just running guys out the gym. So don't let that Indiana plus my differential fool you. They're blowing out a lot of bad teams, and teams that just can't compete with them. That's why their differential is high. But in my opinion, Indiana's not all of that. But they are a threat. And honestly, if their differential can stay this high, they'll finish in the top 6 for sure. They won't be in the play-in. But notice the West Coast is the same thing. The teams with the highest differential typically dominate the conference. So this is why, and we'll go back to the Philadelphia game. This is why, oh, no, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. This is why, in my opinion, the Knicks are a team that I have as 3rd best in the East, because our differential is among the league leaders, right? Or at least the East leaders, right? And a lot of those other teams that have similar records, like they might be a game or half game behind us, their differential is like really low or in the negative. And that's a key for me. That's a stat that I use to really measure a team's success. And the Knicks are really doing a great job at beating teams they're supposed to be. I'll talk more about that on Level Head and Knicks Talk. But getting back to this Philly game, I have a short, and I'm mad I don't have it queued up. I have a short where I bragged about the Knicks being the third best team in the East. I caught a lot of heat because literally right after that, the Knicks started losing a lot of games, right? And we kind of fell off because the Knicks were in the top 5, 4, around where we were right now in the standings, right? And so the Knicks kind of fell off, and then people were giving me a lot of heat on a lot of different platforms. And so, but I'm looking at the big picture because people didn't understand that the Knicks had one of the toughest strips of schedules in the league, probably this either the second or the first or top 5, somewhere around there in SOS. And I knew that. So I also knew that based off the Knicks' track record in beating these other teams, that their record will improve drastically, especially when they start getting more home games, right? A lot of these other teams, I mean, look at Philly's record, right? They're 13-5 at home. They play way more home games than we did. I believe we played maybe 14 home games. So the ties are going to change a little bit with that. But in terms of this Philly game, some of the things I noted, it was one of the big things to note is the fact that your best player, or one of your best players, because people want to argue between Randle or Brunson, who's better. Randle had 8 points and only 7 rebounds, and B put up 30 and 10, as you can see, and it still wasn't enough for to thwart the Knicks. Look at this, 128-92. So that means they're getting a lot of offense from other players. Dante DiVincenzo, his shooting is amazing. Of course, the Brunson burner, 29. The man is an all-star. Listen, NBA, you better get this right. Jalen Brunson is an all-star. I don't care about none of these other guys. You want to talk about Tyrese Maxey and all these guys. Salute to Tyrese Maxey. Salute to Tyrese Halliburton. Salute to who else we got? Dame Lillard, right? But look, notice the East right now. Knicks are fourth best team in the East, and I think we're gonna stay here for a while. Right? Miami might challenge, maybe, but we're gonna be right here for a while. Now, the teams that are better than us should have grace in terms of like, okay, their all-stars should get the benefit of the doubt. Now, I noticed Indiana's right here, and they got Tyrese Halliburton, who should be an all-star. Donovan Mitchell on Cleveland should be an all-star, right? I don't care about none of that. None of these other teams, that includes Trae Young, I don't care about them. Those guys don't get priority over the Knicks, who've been in the top 6, 5 for a lot of the season. So, yeah, those guys need to be all stars, and I'm gonna get on to you fans in a minute too. But yeah, Jalen Brunson's an all star. I just wanted to take that little segue to talk about that. And here's the thing, right? And this is why I always said I thought we were better than Philly. Now I have a short where I'm vehemently, or I'm not vehemently. That sounds like hate. I was passionate in my breakdown, and I said, "Yo, I have no faith in Philly because I don't think that when it comes down to it, Philly is a better team than us." And I'm not just saying that because of the victory. I've been said that. All you gotta do is go back on the channel. And the reason why I said that is because Tobias Harris is not consistent, nor has he done anything on a high level of basketball in the playoffs and things like that. Tobias Harris goes missing in action, right? Nicholas Batum literally doesn't give you much offense. He's a solid defender, but I don't understand why they thought Nicholas Batum could guard Jalen Brunson. That was crazy to me. I just don't get that. But look at the scoring for this team. Kelly Oubre is solid, but no one else provided offense. Now I understand people are gonna say, "Oh, they didn't have Melton." Okay, so Melton was gonna score this. He was gonna make up this difference. I doubt it. Melton is a solid player, but he's not someone who was a game changer like that. And if you want to argue game changers, we don't have our game changer in Mitch Robinson. So that there's no debate there. I mean, who has more value, Mitchell Robinson or Melton? No offense to Melton, I'm just saying like this was the perfect measuring stick for each team, and I felt like the Knicks did what they had to do. Even Marcus Morris was a better scorer, and I haven't really followed his game like that. Let's see, he's only averaging 6 a game, but the Philadelphia 76ers, me in my personal opinion, outside of Embiid, even Maxey's good. I mean, it. and this is a question, is Maxey better than Jalen Brunson? I don't know about that. I you know, I think that Jalen Brunson can hold his own against Maxey. So if you take Embiid out the fold, because yes, he's the best player on the floor, and he should honestly be the MVP this season. Besides him, there's no one else on this roster I'm concerned about. And you could tell by the plus minus from when Embiid is not on the floor to when he's on the floor. I don't have that stat in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's a crazy drastic difference between the two. And the Philadelphia Sixers only go as far as Embiid, and he has been healthy over the past couple of years, but will he be able to continue his 35 point per game average throughout the course of the season and then carry this team into the playoffs? That's going to be a lot. That's why I got the Knicks over Philly. Sorry. Hate to burst your bubble. Knicks about to go on a crazy run. They're about to go on a crazy run. Remember, I said it. So let's see if there's anything else from this Philly game that I want to talk about. Hold on, let's go back to see if there's anything I missed. Hartenstien held his own. He had 17 and 6. Oh yeah, I did. So Deuce put on a shooting display. He had 4 threes in the first quarter. And this our flagship topic will be Jalen Brunson's minutes. Is he playing too much minutes? And if you notice in this game, because it's a blowout, he only played 32 minutes. He probably would have played more if it wasn't a blowout. But this McBride 15, if McBride can consistently get 15, maybe 13 to 15 minutes, you don't have to worry about Jalen Brunson. So now that McBride's starting to get in his groove, I expect Brunson's minutes to go down. But he hit the 4 threes in the first, and then Quentin Grimes, can't forget about him. He was solid defensively. I think he scored 18 in the fourth. Let me check my notes. Do I have it here? I believe he scored 18 in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he scored 18 in the fourth quarter, and that was like honestly one amongst the tops point production from a bench player in the history of the Knicks. I think it's like he was like 4th on the list behind Nate Robinson, a couple of other guys up there. I don't have that stat in front of me, but yeah, Quentin Grimes definitely gets the big shout out in this game. And yeah, and also Walt Clyde is back. Salute to Walt Clyde, man. Let me give an applause to Walt Clyde. Salute to Walt Clyde. He came back this game. And yeah, I think that's all from this game. Let's see. Got some new stuff here. It's funny, right? So going back to Deuce's performance, Deuce got paid $13 million extension right before this game. Literally right before the game started, he got the $13 million 3-year extension. So I think Deuce was feeling himself like, you know what? I just got the bag. So salute to Deuce. But now I'm just trying to make sure there's no other storylines in this game. I'm going to give this game the justice because this was the most impressive game of the season. Of course, Villanova dudes, Philly. How could we forget the history with that? Salute to the Nova boys. Holding it down. And once again, OG. I'm gonna get into OG. Talk a little bit more about his plus minus, but let me just move to this Bulls game. And now I'm gonna be moving a little faster, and then we're gonna get to our flagship topic. So salute to you if you stayed with the channel thus far. Definitely, just subscribe everywhere, especially if you're listening to this point. I don't know why you're not subscribed by now. Hey, that must mean you feeling the sauce, man. And I'm glad to have you here with me. So, subscribe, like, do all the things that everybody says that you should do. And let's continue moving forward. Let's see if I could make this a little bigger. All right, cool. So I didn't even get bigger. Technical difficulties, just getting back, but it's okay. So we good. Yeah, all right, perfect. That's too big. Let's make it a little smaller. All right. So Bulls game, something to note with this. Hartenstien set a career high record, 20 rebounds. His career high before that was 19. I think he set that the game before that. So salute to Isaiah Hartenstien. I do want to also touch on the whole Stephen A. Smith's comments about Isaiah Hartenstein. And now I'm starting to think that because of Stephen A's background with the Knicks, that he has become a disgruntled. Well, he always has been a disgruntled Knicks fan, but I'm starting to believe that he honestly is like someone that is, um, you know, like become casual to try to maintain his objectivity. He's become a casual Knicks fan where he's not really paying attention to like how we pay attention to the days, every day we cover the Knicks, 365, right? Salute to us. We love it. So trust me, I'm giving the Knicks the fire. If the Knicks are playing terrible, I will give the Knicks the fire. Don't get that twisted. I am the objective Knicks fan, but you got to understand what we've been through and where we are. We're in the beginning of a new 90s like ever. You got to allow that to take form, to shape. That takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. This is only the fourth year under this regime, right? In the Leon Rose regime, right? And we've made a lot of strides. We're on pace to make 3 playoffs in 4 years. This is a team that didn't make the playoffs in 10 years. It's a process. You don't get to the top by just, let's just trade for a star. That's not going to get you to the top. It's not overnight. Even when you trade for the star, that's going to take time. And if you want to debate me on this, we can. Send me an email, info@theobjectiveknicksfan.com. If you want to set up a debate about the Knicks and where they're going. So a couple of key things about this game. Josh Hart threw a football pass to the stands. He cracked some jokes about that. Tom Thibodeau also made a commentary on Jalen Brunson, as you can see. Let me scroll down here. So Jalen Brunson, he played about 37, 38 minutes. And his production has actually gone up, right? And so let's jump into the flagship topic a little bit. So is Jalen Brunson's minutes really a concern? Let me see if I got a Daily News article highlighting it, right? And so they're talking about his production. And honestly, the Bulls game was a blowout. Even though the Bulls kind of like made a little run, it still was a blowout. So why is Jalen Brunson playing so much minutes in a game like this? I get that argument, but once again, this was before Deuce got it going. Now that Deuce will get it going, I don't think Jalen Brunson's minutes will be a problem going forward. Because I think regardless of if Deuce is shooting well or not, what it is for me is the Quentin Grimes effect. Do you have the confidence to make the play? That's always going to be a key fundamental factor going forward into Jalen Brunson's usage, right? When the league goes from 16 to 8 in the fourth quarter, Jalen Brunson's coming in the game no matter what. Do understand that. So I do think that Jalen Brunson minutes can be a concern. And then another thing too with his durability, I mean, what happens if he gets hurt? Now Deuce is going to have to run the show. Honestly, I would like to see Dante. I think Dante would be a capable guy to run the show. I really do, but I really do believe that. And then also there's pending trades, rumors. I'll get to rumors and what I think the Knicks should do in a second. But I listen to all the Jalen Brunson minutes, people. Based off what we've seen the past 2 games with Deuce McBride, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I really don't believe it. I really believe that Jalen Brunson will be fine. And I think that you have options even if you don't make a trade between Dante DiVincenzo and Deuce. Why not? And Malachi Flynn. Malachi Flynn's a guy who's kind of interesting. Damn, I don't have his info up. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up Malachi Flynn's info. All right, give me a second because I think he had some good games against the Knicks. I didn't get a chance to really touch on to his production, but I remember the game against Toronto. They had some guys that you never heard of before playing well. And I think he was one of those guys. So let me pull it up. Let's go to his game logs, right? Salute to Malachi Flynn. Precious and I love the way they're handling it. Precious, I think he's too small for the 5 spot. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think that because I was under the impression he was gonna play the 4, but they really believe in Deuce McBride, so Deuce is gonna play. So look, so when Toronto played the Knicks, they played us twice. Let's see. Well, in this game, he didn't play much. He only played 11 minutes. But in the second game, he had 10 points. Right? He shot 4 or 5 from the field. Yeah, he had a solid game against us. He hasn't really played much. He shows, spurts. Highlights of like, okay, the kid, has some talent. Didn't really, get much time in Toronto. That's why they traded him, especially because recently hasn't gotten the minutes. But when he has played, when he has gotten some time, he's put up some decent numbers. I mean, his season high is 14 against Indiana. Well, anybody could score against Indiana. He put up 12 against the Celtics, right, in 22 minutes. Uh, he also had what else? 4 rebounds. Oh, not bad. Hey, so maybe this kid could do some things in some spot minutes. We'll see. But I wouldn't be concerned about Jalen Brunson. I think that between Deuce and Dante, hell, even Josh Hart plays point guard sometimes. I think we'll have enough, and I honestly do believe another move is coming, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. So let's see. Let's move forward. We're gonna jump to the Minnesota game. Only thing I want to talk about in this Minnesota game. First off, salute to the Knicks. Once again, Julius Randle, in my opinion, took on the Karl-Anthony Towns challenge, and he was successful. He did his thing, as you can see, 39 points, 9 rebounds. He was. I mean, yo, what's crazy, and I'm gonna talk about this in the next point. I just want to finish this Wolves game, but Julius Randle's an all-star. And I got some people who I want to address that want to shade Julius Randle. But yeah, this game was a great game. We was on a long road trip or road stretch of a lot of road games. In fact, we came off a 3 game road trip where we lost all 3 of those games, starting in Oklahoma, and finishing in Indiana. So going home to play Minnesota, coming off the trade and still getting the win, that was impressive. Coming off the trade and still getting the win, beating Minnesota, right? Withstanding, Anthony Edwards, he had 35. Towns has 29. The rest of the guys didn't really do much. We even shut down Nas Reed. Now, OG was incredible. He guarded Anthony and did a good job when he was on Anthony. Anthony wasn't really scoring much, and he even guarded Towns for a stretch. Got a nice little block and steal. Well, not a block, but I think he stopped him. He did his thing. OG was amazing. So that's for the 4 games this week. We're gonna move forward. Because I want to make sure I cover a lot of these topics. I'm gonna jump into now the All-Star voting. First off, Knicks fans, you should be disappointed in yourselves, right? Because I don't have the graphic, but there's a graphic that shows Jalen Brunson is 6 on the list behind Halliburton, Maxey, all these guys in terms of fan voting. So I want to talk about fan voting right now. What is going on with you Knicks fans? Why aren't you voting? I remember when the first unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis was a Knick, how he got voted in. Because the Knicks fans voted for him and Melo. You had a tandem that, in my opinion, is better than Porzingis and Melo, because Porzingis and Melo didn't do nothing, right? And of course, KP, and where he was in his career, he's not where he is now. So to be fair, I'm not trying to slight KP when KP was a young buck, but Jalen Brunson, Randle is a better tandem than Melo and KP. Why don't they get the votes that KP and Melo gets? The NBA, I understand the NBA machine in terms of the marketing value. KP was an international player coming to New York, and Melo is an amazing guy. He's a super Hall of Fame talented player. Carmelo Anthony, one of the greatest to ever play the game, one of the best scorers ever. So I get that part, right? Randle was not on Melo's level. I think that Randle is like challenging Melo for some of those years where Melo wasn't like the super guy. Like I think Randle is trying to creep up there. But yeah, Melo averaged 30 that one year. So Randle, until he does that, I can't put Randle over Melo. But success wise, team success wise, Randle can have more success than Melo because Melo only made a couple of playoffs. And then really the only real playoff run was that run where we lost to Indiana in the second round to keep it funky. All the other runs was like when Amari Stoudemire broke his hand and from punching the fire extinguisher. Listen, I'm a long time suffering Knicks fan. I don't even want to talk about this stuff. But so, I'm disappointed in you Knicks fans for not voting. You vote for SGA and all these other guys. Why don't you vote for Brunson and Randle? They're putting on a show. Do I have to pull up their numbers? I guess I do. Let me pull up Randle and Things numbers, man. Because y'all tripping. And I'm blaming the fans. It's our fault because we're not putting the pressure on the league to respect our guys. Now they got to get voted in by the coaches. I don't understand how the second most valuable franchise in basketball behind the Golden State Warriors, ahead of the Lakers and the Celtics, how we don't have the support for two guys. Look at these guys, 26 and 24. They're doing stuff that hasn't been done since Willis Reed and Walt Clyde Frazier. So they went past the 90s. They're doing things as a duo. 26 and 24 hasn't been done in multiple seasons since Walt Clyde and Willis Reed. Why aren't you voting for these guys? Why aren't you voting for these guys? Why? And it's so bad, right, that Julius Randle is now saying, listen, I don't want to talk about the fan vote because he's a pro's pro. He's already been on. Let's keep it real. Randle is trying to win the championship. He's never going to win the MVP. They come on. Even though the fans on the road cheer for Randle to be MVP. Of course, I'm not saying Randle's an MVP. I'm the objective Knicks fan, so I'm not going that far. But what I'm saying is the man has already made 2 All-Star teams. So he's trying to win the championship. He don't care about the voting. He says, that's just respect from your peers and your colleagues, he said, right? Those guys you have to play against every night. The times I made the All-Star games, it's been the coaches picking me. So that's definitely respect. So the coaches got to pick him. And he values that more than the fans. Why? Because the fans are not supporting. He also said, the fans who do vote for me, I appreciate it. So he's saluting all the Knicks. Matter of fact, salute to them. Round of applause to all the Knicks fans that voted, man. Right? So he says, to the fans that do vote for me, I appreciate it. Right? And that's it. He says, what else he said? At the end of the day, I play to win games, right? My job is to win as many games as possible to try to win the championship. I've always said the personal accolades, they will come with all of that. So he's trying to win the championships because salute to Randle. Because he understands that that's what matters in the long run. But I just need you Knicks fans to get out there and vote. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. So now we're going to jump into, see what we got here. We're going to jump into some OG trade stuff. Let's see what I got here. So OG Anunoby's impact. I mean, of course, everyone knows. So first of all, salute to Leon Rose. I got a question, Mr. Rose. Do you know something that we don't know? I was talking to my dad. Salute to my dad. He's and we were talking about Leon Rose and the moves he's made. Now, I know this is going to get some of you Knicks fans mad. I don't want this on the screen, so I'll put it on something else. Put it here. So I know this is going to get some of you Knicks fans mad, right? But Leon Rose has only made 2 mistakes. Leon Rose has made 2 mistakes under his regime. 2 things that we wish he would have considered doing otherwise. One of those things really kind of was a big blunder. The only blunder that Leon Rose has made was drafting Obi instead of Halliburton. Okay, let's eat some crow for that. Let's eat some crow. Right? He should have took Halliburton. Everyone knew that. I knew that. I said, yo, Halliburton, this kid is amazing. He has great upside. They didn't believe in his upside, so they didn't take him. But I was like, why? Then they said Obi's a New York kid, and I'm like, okay. Because I trusted Leon Rose and those guys, because Worldwide West and those guys, because they know about basketball. So I'm thinking, okay, they got it. But that was the one mistake they made. The other mistake you could say was the Fournier Kemba Walker thing. But they were able to get past that. You know, Kemba's not with the team, and but one thing you have to give Leon Rose credit for is he's one hell of a trade person. He knows how to make trades. And the moves he's making, Josh Hart, getting Cam Reddish for Knox, right? And people didn't understand. And by the way, one of my best performing videos on this channel is the why Cam Reddish got traded video. Check that out. I dropped a lot of sauce in that video. But what people didn't understand was they avoided that whole Knox contract extension thing. They didn't want to pay him, so that's why they traded him for Cam Reddish, who they thought was a better player, and it gave him an extra year. Once they saw Cam Reddish wasn't that guy, as you can see now with the Lakers, but I'm not going to trash him because he's a Duke Blue Devil, right? Salute to the Duke Blue Devils. But bottom line is the trades that he's made have been on the money. Even the Obi trade, look at what Obi's doing. Well, Obi's now coming off the bench getting the time he got with the Knicks. And y'all blame, he should play more. Why is he playing more in Indiana? Just saying. So Leon Rose is doing a great job. We'll talk more about that in Levelheaded Knicks. But so in terms of OG Anunoby, he's a pending free agent. Let's see if I got an article on that. He's a pending free agent, and so let's see. We get to the RJ stuff. Yeah, I'll leave it here. So hold on. Let's pause this. So yeah, OG, he's a pending free agent, and the Knicks are very confident that they can get him. I'm gonna put it back on the ESPN. And I like what OG's saying. He's saying, I just take it day by day, let my agent handle that. When he found out he was coming to the Knicks, he was excited. He's always liked the team. He's a fan of basketball. Whether it's cap or not, he's saying the right things. I love it. And so OG is having an amazing impact, in my opinion, thus far. His plus minus is what was it? It's 85. I just had it. I think it's a plus. Yeah. So OG's plus 85 in his first 4 games as a Knick. No other player in franchise history has been north of 60. So big up to Leon Rose. He knows something that we don't. Because initially, and I don't think I talked about the trade. I haven't, not on the channel at least. But I was upset that they traded Quickly and RJ. Not because they traded those two. I did a video talking about the Knicks trading Quickly. So I knew Quickly's days was numbered. But I didn't know that we were going to do both of them for OG. Because I'm like, you could get more. But there's stuff that we don't know. Leon Rose and his team must have said, yo, we don't need RJ. We have Dante DiVincenzo, who's shooting 47% from 3 as a starter. Quentin Grimes, we see that now he's gunning off the bench. We're going to give him the keys to be our 6-man kind of guy, right? Because he's gunning off the bench, right? And Deuce, we got this guy, Deuce is killing in practice. Why do we need? We get OG. OG answers our prayers. We need better defense, right? And that's what OG has done. I'm not going to talk about RJ Barrett. So there was an article talking about how RJ Barrett is seen as a toxic asset. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that RJ is a capable 20-point per game scorer, and I think that his salary is what you would pay a 20-point per game scorer. I just don't think that he's going to be anything greater than that, right? And I think that that's the problem. Is a lot of times it's the people's expectations, right? And quickly he's going to get the bag because he's going to shoot a lot of shots, and people are going to, you know, they're going to want Toronto. The Toronto faithful are going to definitely want quickly back there, and they honestly don't have no other alternatives. So I think quickly will get the bag. But let's see, Tom Thibodeau, he praises OG. He says, I think we have a good core that's been together for a while now. So I think that can absorb people coming in. And then a guy like OG is very serious. And yeah, he wants to do well. And I think his mind is open. He plays incredibly hard on every possession. So even if he's not a perfect fit right now, it's still going to be good. That's a fact. Like, so OG doesn't have to score or do anything outside of just the intangibles he brings. And you would still be like, whoa, this guy is amazing, right? He declined his $19.9 million option for next season. Of course, we already knew that he was going to do that because he wants it back, right? But he's with CAA, so shout out to CAA. Right? I'm still learning what the world means. I'm still learning. Like, okay, so yeah, CAA means you're in with the mob. As they have a lot of CAA players with the team, so great connection. So that means that they can work out a deal, right? So because of these ties, they're thinking that he can reach an agreement that it will be more than 118 million. What I saw from a lot of different places about 150. I'm gonna ask you guys this question: is OG worth $50 million? I'll leave that to you guys. I mean, $150 million. I'll leave that to you guys. I think that honestly, if we can get and I just dropped this now. The one player I want the Knicks to trade is DeJounte Murray. Go get that man. You have picks, and you might have to give up one of your young studs. With Fournier, that'll get you DeJounte Murray. The Hawks don't know what they're doing, right? So the Hawks would probably take whatever package the Knicks could muster up and give them because the Hawks are in a rebuild. And I hope they know that. The Trae Young, DeJounte Murray combination is not working. Atlanta hasn't made the playoffs. They're not doing much. They fell off the map. They were a fifth seed that went to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? So ever since then, they haven't done much. They sort of fell off the map. They made this Murray trade thinking it was going to work. It's not working. Give him to the Knicks. Murray's another guy who actually can score 20. So now you have your three 20-point scorers. Now, look, if you have three 20-point scorers, you have the capability of winning a championship. Murray, it's not because Murray is a great player. It's because now you have enough offense from three guys that you can win a championship. That'll be enough production. Now, argument could be made. The Knicks brass right now with the core guys that was there. Grimes has playoff experience. He played in two, but this will be his second playoffs, so not his first playoffs. Hart played last year, played amazing for his first playoff run. Hartenstien has playoff experience. The starters have playoff experience. Dante, they played on championship teams, him and OG. So you add DeJounte Murray, the Knicks are contenders. Trust me, you add Murray to this team, and you go with a starting lineup of Murray and OG, and then Mitch, they're saying Mitch is out for the season. They say he's going to be evaluated 10 weeks. Whether Mitch is out for the season or not, let me tell you something. When Mitch does get back, because we probably won't win the championship this year, but next year, we sign OG, give him the 150 with Murray. Forget Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's out of here. I'll tell you, I'll get to rumors if I want to. The same rumors that is always there. Listen to me, Knicks brass. Get DeJounte Murray. You will be a champion. We don't need a star. There is no star coming to save you. Do I need to go back to the standings? Let's go back to the standings because we got to live in the real world. Okay, let me see. Let's go back. We're gonna look at the standings right quick, and then I'm gonna move forward because we're gonna be a little over. I'm gonna try to keep it under an hour, but there's some things I want to talk about. So, and we missed some time. We missed 2 weeks, but let's pull up these full standings because there's some things that I need you guys to understand about stars. And I've been talking about stars for the longest. I'm getting tired because we're the only team that, oh yeah, we need a star. Now, do you notice any trends here? I mean, let's just stick with the top 3 teams in the East and the top 3 teams in the West, right? Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Philadelphia 76ers. What do those 3 teams have in common? What they have in common is their best players, all homegrown. The Boston Celtics' best player, Jason Tatum's a star, homegrown. Their second star, Jalen Brown, homegrown. Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, homegrown. Superstar, one of the top 3 in the league. Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, homegrown. Best star player on his team. Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, homegrown stars they drafted. Best team in the league, or best team in the West, actually, homegrown. Oklahoma City Thunder, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, all homegrown. They didn't trade for a star. Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, and DeJounte Murray. No, I'm sorry. I'm mixing up the Murrays now. The other Murray, not the too goddamn many Murrays in the league, right? Keegan Murray. There's too many of these guys. Anyway, all right. So Nuggets, you got Murray, Jokic, homegrown. The formula of success is crafting what you have. The Knicks don't have homegrown stars, and that honestly might be what's coming back to bite them in the butt. And you know what? We'll talk about. I'm gonna jump into the Stephen A. Smith now because it's connected, right? The teams that don't have the homegrown stars, Miami, Indiana, Cleveland, they're all second-tier teams. Now, the Clippers is the one exception because they got 3 stars. They got 4 Hall of Famers. So the Clippers, they break the algorithm. I don't want to count them, right? But Sacramento's a team, their best player, De'Aaron Fox, is homegrown. Dallas Mavericks, Luka, right? Pelicans, Zion, and Ingram was traded there. Ingram was a Laker. But notice the teams that made trades for stars, they're all second-tier teams. So I'm asking you in 2024, where's the model of trading for a star and becoming a top-tier team? The teams that sign stars have better success than the teams that trade for stars. So now I want to talk about Stephen A. Smith. Because Stephen A. Smith, you tripping. And the reason why I'm going to say Stephen A. Smith is tripping, what's going on here? Okay, that's the power rankings. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see. This is a New York Post article. Boom. So Stephen A. Smith, he made some comments talking about he's a bigger star than most of the New York Knicks. And first off, I'm not trying to tear Stephen A. Smith's back in. I love Stephen A. Smith. I follow Stephen A. Smith. I say he's a mentor who I've never met. I follow all his moves. I don't watch all his content, of course, because, it's just too much. He puts out a lot of content. But I do watch his clips. I watch most of his clips from the Stephen A. Smith show, and some of the first take stuff that goes viral, I watch that too. So salute to Stephen A. Smith. First off, salute to Stephen A. Smith. He's from New York City. Gotta represent people in the industry that's from New York City. So, but at the same time, I understand Stephen A. Smith's position as a person that was burnt by the Knicks in terms of he goes back to the 70s. He was a kid. So he wants to see the Knicks win a championship. So because of that, he sort of pushed himself, gave himself some distance from the team. And now when he goes on TV, he's making these commentaries that he probably won't even make for any other team because he loves the Knicks, right? He says, they can't get a star, right? You had a chance. This is the Mecca, and stars come to visit. We have never had any. So the star he's talking about is Donovan Mitchell, and then I always preface this with, what has Mitchell done? What has he done? And there's rumors talking about, oh yeah, Donovan Mitchell, the Cavaliers are not going to trade him, and we got to wait 2 years for him to come. So he's not getting traded. You got to wait 2 years for him to come. Maybe that'll change over the offseason when they stink up the bed. But I mean, come on, Stephen A. Smith, you got to stop, man. You got to stop, because when you say that you're a bigger star than most of the New York Knicks, first off, you're probably a bigger star than all of the New York Knicks because you work for ESPN and you're on TV every day, national TV in 160 plus million homes. The Knicks aren't on TV every day. So he's probably more popular than most NBA All-Stars. So that commentary, come on, man. Knock it off. And then all this pressure with stars. I already talked about the star thing. You don't have a model of no one trading for a star and it working. You want to talk about Kawhi Leonard, but then ignore the fact that the Toronto Raptors were a contending team in the East. They won 59 games. They made it to the Eastern Conference Final. They was in the second round many years, right? So when they were able to trade for Kawhi, they already had multiple All-Stars. They gave up an all-star, a pick, and another player. Didn't deplete their team. If the Knicks would trade for a star, they're going to deplete their team. I talked about this already. So it doesn't matter, Stephen A. Gilbert Arenas is another guy. Oh, the Knicks need to get started and build from there. I went through the standings. I mean, let's look at the standings. These top three teams, maybe Minnesota wasn't there for that long. Oh, yeah, they technically was. We're going to count Towns. Towns has been going at it for some years. And the Thunder, they're just some young bucks that's coming up. We don't know if they're going to stay in the top two, but we got to take them seriously because they have been in the top three team, right? But Denver, the Celtics, Denver and Milwaukee, who actually won the championship, they've been building this for years. I used to watch Denver Nuggets in 2015. And they were putting in work. I used to watch. I was like, yo, who's this young team lighting up the league when they had the kid, what's his name? Harris, Murray. They were lighting teams up for a while before. It took time to get there. That's what the Knicks are trying to build. Yeah, we traded RJ and Quickly, who are probably the two best guys we drafted, and they won't get an opportunity to grow in that role. But what the Knicks can do is get guys like DeJounte Murray, right? Guys that won't deplete your roster to get them. You put together a solid team, and then I think Jalen Brunson is a star. So you already got the star that you want. And I think Randle can take his game to another level. Will it be a star? Maybe, maybe not. But he's taking it to these guys' chests. Julius Randle, Kendrick Perkins, shout out to Kendrick Perkins. He's a guy who, hold on. Salute to Kendrick Perkins. He's a guy who, he speaks up for the Knicks on national TV, right? But even he went early on, the Knicks have to get a star and all these things, right? And he said something the other day about Julius Randle, because Julius Randle had, this is what I think he had 30-something against, who was it? So against the Sixers, he had 8, right? And then against, I think it was the Bulls. Against the Bulls, he had 35. So Kendrick Perkins said, oh, yeah, I just want to see Randle do it against, the elite teams, the contending teams, right? He forgot that Julius Randle put up 39 against the Timberwolves, who's the best team in the West, who's been the best team in the West for the majority of the season. So I'm not coming for Kendrick. I'm just saying, then we can't forget the 41 against Giannis on Christmas Day. And then he had 30-something the next night, or 20-something. He had a good game on Christmas too, I believe. So you can't, what are you talking about? He's brought it to Giannis, the best power forward in the league. Well, why are the Knicks getting all this slight? It baffles my mind. Baffles my mind. Real quickly, I'll just read some headlines. MSG and Yes will be making a partnership. So I don't know how to feel about that. I'm gonna cheer for now, because right now we don't know what the price is going to be. So it could be a good thing or bad thing. If the price stays the same, it could be a good thing because now you get the Yes Network and everything for the same price. But if it raises or there's some sort of other stipulation, that's going to be tough. Let's see. So let's just move forward. Let's see. In terms of the Knicks, their current, like I said, they're 4-0. And honestly, when Josh Hart, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, when the Knicks first traded for Josh Hart last year, they won 9 games straight. Looking at the schedule, we have Portland, Dallas, Memphis. Dallas and Memphis, those games are on the road. So those 2 games might be tough. But Orlando and Houston, definitely winnable games. And we owe Orlando. So don't be surprised if the Knicks go 9-0, 10-0, because then we got Washington. So we already won 4. And then the next 5 games are against, some decent competition. I think that if we can get past Dallas and Memphis, I think that the Knicks can win 10 games in a row, maybe more. And then we got Toronto. So if the Knicks win 10 games in a row, then Toronto's that game. That's going to be one of the craziest games. And do we got Toronto on the schedule? Unfortunately, Toronto's not on the schedule, but we'll talk about it on the podcast. So let's see. Back to Stephen A. Smith. He said that, because going back to the star things, right? He said that he wasn't trying to be disrespectful when he was talking about Isaiah Hartenstein. He goes, some dude named Hartenstien, right? And Fournier spoke out about it, right? Because he was trying to downplay Hartenstein's performance against Philly, and trying to admonish Philly for losing to the Knicks, right? And I don't understand why he would put down a guy that's been putting in work since our best center was there. I'm just looking at my notes and it's crazy, right? Because I just can't believe that Stephen A is doing this. And salute to Isaiah Hartenstein, man, putting in work. He says that if he keeps going, he's going to get paid because he's a free agent. So Isaiah Hartenstein, wants to get paid. He's not concerned about the bread, but you're probably looking at a 4-year, $56 million contract for a big guy that's putting up that numbers. And then for a backup, are the Knicks willing to do that? So that's why I say get Murray. Use that extension to sign. You got exceptions, all of that. Those come into play, especially trades. So you could use the 2 exceptions in the Murray trade too. Fournier, maybe they have a bad contract they want us to take. We'll take that. And then we could do like a waive thing. Depending on what contract it is. I'm not sure about who Atlanta has that's a bad contract, but I say you sign Hartenstein. But more than likely, I don't think Hartenstein's coming back because I think that he's playing his way into a bigger contract than what the Knicks will be willing to pay. Knicks trade rumors. New York will explore options at the deadline to make a deep playoff run. I mean, yeah, of course. I just want to tell you that these options they're talking about more than likely will not be a superstar. Be prepared for that. And then they keep talking about the Knicks is always interested. The Knicks is in a Towns deal. Let's see if I got this article up. They're talking about the Knicks, if they do want to trade for Towns. I don't understand why. Julius Randle is playing better than Karl-Anthony Towns. So why would you want to trade Randle for Towns when Randle is playing better and they're around the same age? So it's not like you're going to say, oh, Towns is going to be this more amazing guy. But they're saying that the Knicks don't want to trade Mitchell Robinson. So, okay, so you don't want to trade Mitchell Robinson for Towns, right? And we do know that Minnesota probably is going to have to move one of these guys because they're a small market team. It's a lot of salary. Remember, Gobert's getting like $36+ million a year. Towns, all these guys getting $30+ million a year. Anthony Edwards has a super max contract, so they're not going to be able to pay. And then Nas Reed also has a nice, pretty sizable contract. So that's why they're. There's a lot of rumors that they want to trade one of these guys. But honestly, if I'm Minnesota, I'll just take the hit. I know some owners can't afford it. But I'll take the hit. But it's just I'm tired of Karl-Anthony Towns rumors. I'm tired of it. And then Mitchell, Cleveland, they're not really looking to trade Mitchell. So because they have him for another season. So and a lot can change between now and then. That's all for the rumors. let's wrap up on Word on the Street. I'm sorry this podcast is a little longer than normal, but there's a couple of polls I want to talk about. So we'll talk about this. So I did a poll. It got 312 votes from Knicks fans. It says, attention Knicks fans, they just traded away quickly on RJ to Toronto for OG and Precious Anunoby. What are your thoughts on the deal? So out of the 312 Knicks fans, 58% say it was a good deal, 20% say it was a bad deal, and then 22 say they don't know how to feel. So, you got some mixed reviews here. Fans are kind of like all over the place. Let's see if there's any interesting comments. Advanced the cause, great deal. Hey, what does this guy know? The flair. Great deal. Because honestly, I was like, I didn't know how to feel. That's how I voted. I honestly didn't know how to feel, But OG is a capable defender. So I wasn't tripping off that. I knew that OG would be able to, hold the fort down. So then I asked, I have a question for you. How do you feel about OG's first game? 343 Knicks fans voted about OG and his performance. So 86% said he played well. So most of at least the Knicks fans that follow me, they have sense because he played well. 12% say he was all right. little subtle hate. These are probably the RJ Barrett and Manuel Quickly lovers. He was all right. And then 2%, these are the real haters. I wasn't impressed. So, and let me see what comments we got. Let's see. And yeah, this guy, salute the brother Voodoo. He's a good supporter of the channel. Salute to him. Hopefully, I see you on the in the comments for the live show. But it will get better. You impatient fanboy critics. He just arrived. Right? Why are you guys hating already? It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense, man. And then the last, let's see. So, attention Knicks fans, there are many rumors surrounding the desires to make another deal. Which player you prefer the Knicks to trade for? I made a mistake. I thought Spider was available next summer. My fault. Okay? My fault. But this post actually, this is the most votes I've ever seen in a poll. 437 Knicks fans voted. So I asked them, there are many rumors regarding the Knicks and their desires to make another deal. Which player do you want to see the Knicks make a trade for, right? So 37% of these fans say they want DeJounte Murray. 16% say Malcolm Brogdon, who I think, honestly, Malcolm Brogdon is another nice piece. I don't think he turns you into a championship contender, but I think the Knicks can make the East Finals. You get a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, who was Sixth Man of the Year. He replaces Quickly's production. I don't think the Knicks want to do it because I really do believe that the Knicks are committed to Malcolm Brogdon. I really do believe it. I really do believe it. So that's probably not going to happen. Let's see. And 43% say no trades, just sign Spider. Right? So that's what Knicks fans believe. Then I did a poll about, this will be the last poll. Attention Knicks fans, Jalen Brunson's minutes been pretty high since the trade. It was. How concerned are you about Brunson's health if his minutes continue at this level, right? I asked some really good questions. I really do. So 46% of Knicks fans say they're very concerned. And I say rightfully so at the time, because this was before Deuce was doing his thing. 39% say they're slightly concerned. I was slightly concerned because I was like, yo, we're using him a lot more than we used to. And then 15% say they're not concerned. These guys are the real optimistic Knicks fans. And that's all for Word on the Street. I think I'll end the podcast here, man. First off, salute to you. You're a worldwide champion. I went over the 50-minute mark. I'm sorry. I apologize. Won't happen again. My first week back. A lot of news I wanted to touch on, but definitely salute to you. Before we get up out of here, I want to remind you, check out the shop, man. We got some nice merch on the shop, man. My shirts are reasonably priced. I don't know why it says CAD. I'm going to change that. I think that's Canadian dollar. I'm going to change that, but go on there and cop a shirt, man. Cop a shirt. Yeah. Oh, this might be my VPN. I got a VPN. It might think I'm in Canada. That's why. I got a really good VPN on here. So salute to my VPN. But definitely check out the shop. get you some merch, man. That's how you can support the channel, man. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button.
Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel.
Tuesday, I'll have another video coming for you. Thursday, we're going live, okay? And then that'll be all for this episode. And until next time, let's go.